As you know, I'm sure you're very well aware about the situation going on here with MLB and that season suspended and not really sure what's going to happen next. There's a lot of uncertainty. I don't know if since you guys are already starting to play, that maybe will set the blueprint as to how MLB should follow, since we are, a few weeks or whatever behind Korea in terms of where we're at with the pandemic. But how do you see it unfolding in terms of your league playing baseball?
So, I mean, they've been having weekly meetings as far as like the organizations and everybody in the whole league. And I think we're going to try to be able to start in May, like early May, maybe the first week of May. I don't think we're going to have fans at least for the time being. And then I think they're going to kind of slowly let people in. But it's weird. Yeah, it's because things and the schedule has been changing day by day. I mean, as far as we got here, like it feels like even our scrimmages against other teams or starting the season, everything's been kind of slowly getting pushed back. But I feel like we have a pretty good set date right now, and it's just a matter of what happens. What are you going to do if a player on another team does get it? Are you going to just suspend everything, or you're going to try to quarantine that certain player? So I think there's still a lot of questions to be answered as far as this upcoming season. But as far as starting the games, I think we kind of have a pretty solid foundation right now for the first week of May.
Because everything is so fluid and uncertain and things are changing constantly, I mean, do you guys feel ready? Because pretty soon Major League Baseball will be in a similar position where if they have a chance to go and play, guys are going to be having, spring training canceled, and your training regimen for preparing for a grueling season has been interrupted. So what got you guys ready for regular season games?
I think being able. I think we were very fortunate to kind of have the luxury of just kind of staying on track as far as just not completely getting shut down. So I think our manager has done a great job as far as kind of pacing our players because, like I said, even for our starting pitchers, I know in spring training back in the States, that's like kind of the biggest thing, right? Is just making sure that the starting pitchers are ready. So, do you dial them back or do you kind of let them go and extend themselves out a little bit? So I think that's going to be, as far as back in the States too, the biggest challenges as far as them trying to get their season, ready to get going.
What's your favorite thing to eat out there in Korea? What's the
I mean,
food you're loving?
growing up, I always ate my mom's Korean food and she would always cook. So it's not quite like eating my mom's home cooking, but it's awesome out here. The food's great. The people are so nice and accommodating, and so it's been fun experience so far. But me, I can't complain about any type of food.
We did the food tour in Seattle together when you were with the
Yeah,
Angels.
I know. I caught that fish with the glove. I
That
still
was at
remember
the
that.
at Pike's Market. That was so much fun. Hey, you bring up your mom. I mean, I know you have some family in Seoul, Korea, but most of your family and your immediate family is in Orange County and Huntington Beach. So what's that been like for you to be? I know baseball takes you all over the world or takes you traveling, but to be this far away, especially at a time like this, how's that been for you on a personal level?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, just having to talk to my family and seeing them like kind of cooped up in the house a little bit and just trying to stay safe and doing all the measures that they can possible. I know as far as me and my wife, it's really difficult. At the time, she was in Australia with me for spring training, and then everyone kind of thought, oh, Korea was outbreaks and everything. So we actually thought it was probably best for her to go back to the States. But by the time she went back, everything kind of flip flopped, and the Korean government did a really good job as far as like kind of containing everything and putting a lockdown pretty quickly. So it's tough. I mean, even if she comes out here, she's gonna have to be quarantined, and it's it's tough. I mean, it just really puts everything in perspective about baseball, but it's just yeah, it's really tough because we really don't know. Everything's so up in the air, and I know that's probably the same situation for a lot of people back home.
I know you're not exactly mixed in with the general population because you're with a professional baseball team, but have people been generally following the guidelines and the rules during this pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's funny because you get text on your Korean phone. People are, the government kind of like informs you, if there was any outbreaks in certain cities, and they tell you to kind of stay inside. Um, it's been slowing down here, but as we all know, the severity of this whole thing, it can spread so quickly at any time. So I think people are, for the most part, in Busan, they're living a they're pretty normal life, but they've been trying to stay safe as much as possible. I mean, you get temperature checks anywhere you go, like if you go inside a mall or a restaurant. Um, they check you, they're making sure you do all this stuff, they're covering up. And so they're living pretty normally, but they're staying very safe.
As a catcher, you're used to wearing a mask all the time anyway, right?
Yeah, that's true.